Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Welcome back. It's Saturday, so we're doing our live show this evening. If you're just tuning in, we alternate every other weekend. Every other Saturday, we switch back and forth between tarot and astrology. Tonight, we are doing tarot. So if you're new to my channel, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up, say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Just setting some stuff up here and getting ready. I'm going to go through the PayPal and see who we've got. Also, another thing that I want to let you guys know is that it's really important that when you make your payment, when you make your donation in the memo, please put your question. You can put whatever information you want there. As usual, we're going to take level 3 subscribers first. So until we get everybody who's in, let's just say a big thank you to all the level 2 and level 3 subscribers. Deanna, Paula, Lisette, Stephanie, Angela, Maui, Flowing Through the Pines, Willow, Steve, Emma, Susan, Ms. Fogel, Jackie, Hera, Nancy, Jessica Martinez, and Susan Wexler. Thank you guys so much. What's up, guys? Hi, Giordana, Susan. Nice to see you again. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Moanne. If you're a level 3 subscriber and you have not already gotten your reading for the month, please let me know if you would like to cash in on that. I know we have a couple people who still are yet to get your reading. So Deanna, Paula, Stephanie, Steve, Emma, Nancy, and Jessica, you guys are all level 3. I know we've gotten like Steph, Paula, and Claudia. But if there's anybody else who wants to jump in, let me know. You can also join level 3. Basically, level 1, you're just going to be donating if you like my content. Level 2, you're going to be getting a shout out. And if you're level 3, you get both of those things. But you're also going to get a reading once a month on my channel. So hopefully you guys like the content we've been putting out there, working really hard to make sure that we're putting out content now early. It's coming out like 7 o'clock Pacific time, the mornings that we're posting stuff. We also have webinars and other things that are going to be coming out in the fall, and we're going to be teaching more astrology classes. So yeah, it's been really awesome to see the channel grow. We've been able to do so much. So a big thank you to everybody who has been supportive. When you guys make your donation, there's a QR code here, so you can scan that. We're requesting $40 donation for 3 cards. You can ask whatever question you want. $20 donation for 1 card. We're going to be doing tarot tonight, so sometimes people show up and they want astrology. We're doing tarot, so astrology will be next week. If you make a donation, just let me know. Let me go ahead and go through and see who we have, so I can give you guys a roll call. And if any of the level 3 people want to cash in today, let me know. Looks like we've got, in this order, Michelle, Terrell, Susan, Liana, and Wendy. So thank you guys for your donations. Happy to go ahead and get started. If there's no level 3 people who want to cash in, totally cool. You can ask whatever you want. You can be as specific or non-specific as you'd like. But we will start with Michelle. What's up, Michelle? I'm not sure if you're watching live, but just big hello to you. Hope you're doing well. Michelle says, I'm wondering what's going on with this Cancer man. Okay, well, let's find out. Let's see what's happening. She says, oh my God, this man. Let's see what the cards say. Funny card. You know, this is probably one of the better cards that you can pull in the deck, you know? 9 of Cups. I want you to think about what's been going on over the last several weeks or months. This can be increments of 9 weeks, 9 months. But the 9 of Cups is like the wish card, right? This is the card that you get when you're like, I really want this thing. I'm really wishing for this thing. So if you're asking about the guy, it's like, you know, this card comes up that's like, okay, you rubbed the, you know, the genie's bottle, and then the genie pops up and goes as you wish. This card comes up as a wish manifestation, or something that you've been asking for, something that you've been focusing on, something that you've been asking to kind of come into your orbit. Cups are always emotions. So this also talks about, you know, feeling like your cup is runneth over. So there can be a sense of you being like, is this too good to be true? Like, am I like crazy? Like, do I need to pinch myself? Is this reality? This can also be talking about, you know, being fulfilled in terms of like what you've been asking for and manifesting, and being very satisfied with the end result. So if you've been asking for, I want a partner that checks all of these boxes, and then all of a sudden, poof, somebody shows up, you're like, wait a second, this is too good to be true. This can also be like hanging out with somebody, grabbing drinks, being able to go and spend time with them, feeling very fulfilled and very excited, and even like emotionally overwhelmed a little bit about something that's coming together. But because this is the card, you know, it's probably best next to, you know, the Wheel of Fortune, the Ten of Cups, the Ace of Cups. It's saying like there is a sense of being like, is this too good to be true? So I'm wondering like what the deal is here. Not a bad card to pull, but there can be a sense of feeling very emotionally overwhelmed with whatever is going on. And nines always represent like the completion of a cycle. So I could also see it as maybe you knew all along that there was a person coming that was going to kind of meet a certain criteria. And they were going to have certain kind of traits or, you know, specifics to like look for as for when they would show up in your life. And then this person shows up and you're like, oh my God, like he literally checks all of the boxes. Like everything is like perfect. Like where's the catch? So there is a lot of like literally like wanting to pinch yourself and being like, am I missing something? Like, is this like a facade? Like, can I trust this? Like, there's got to be like a catch or something that's wrong. No, it's fine. Nine of Cups is saying it's fine. Like basically the emotional connection is still there. I feel like I would go back to what you were thinking about, what you were manifesting. The Nine of Cups, and it came up upright. Okay, so it's not reversed. It's not saying like you're too overly idealistic. You might want to look at, once again, increments of 9. So 9 days, 9 weeks, 9 months. I feel like you need to also go back to really thinking about what you've been manifesting or what you've been asking for. And, you know, like really reflect on that, because it's kind of saying like, have faith. Nines are connected to faith. Nines are connected also to like belief that if something was really meant to be, like it's going to end up panning out. The astrology right now is particularly gnarly, especially for like mutable placements. So if you happen to have like a Gemini or a Virgo or Sag or Pisces rising, you have to understand that, you know, Venus and Mercury are coming into opposition with Neptune. So there is a lot of like, I thought this was a thing, where did it go? And it can be a moment where there's like a pause. And in the midst of the retrograde, it can also be a lot of like reevaluating whether or not people who you've connected to are ready for the connection. But in your case, like this is a super positive card. I don't really feel like this is going to be like losing someone. I'm wondering if this is just about going back to your manifestations and tweaking things a little bit, especially with all these planets retrograde. And wish fulfillment is what kind of comes to mind when I see this card. So if you're like hoping and wishing that you're going to reconnect, likely you will. You'll be pleased with the results. There's some kinks that are still being kind of ironed out in the process. Okay. Good luck. Keep us updated. Oh boy. Mercury retrograde, all the oppositions and the squares with Neptune. It's not fun. Hopefully that was helpful for you, Michelle. We've got Terrell. And let's see what Terrell has to say. Hey Candace, I was born in Queens, June 18th, 94. This is a tarot reading. I'm 28, R&B recording artist, currently on the brink of leaving my job to break into the music industry. This year has been the most eventful year of my life, and I'm finding that even though I'm achieving a lot of personal growth, it's on the back end of conflicts with people over boundaries and expectations of how I should show up in their lives. It's overwhelming. I would love your insight as to what is going on within the spiritual realm with me, what to expect for the rest of the year. I can do that. Well, to be a Gemini with Mars in your sign right now, right? A lot about how you're showing up in the world and like how you're taking more initiative, but also like standing up for yourself is kind of like a theme that you're going to see with Mars in your sign. And because you're born in 1994, you're also coming in pretty soon to Saturn return time. So there's going to be some stuff that's going to be shifting in your life in terms of like really leveling up. Saturn's in Aquarius. It's about friendships and also goals, and it's in a square to Uranus and Taurus. So there's like the friends that you've had forever and like the commitments to friends and the challenges with Uranus and Taurus, like how you're reinventing yourself and your priorities are kind of changing. What's up, Asha? Nice to see you. So just keep that in mind. But let's see what the cards have to say for you. We got a 3-card reading to see what's going on within the spiritual realm. I like that. What's up, Sam? Nice to see you. We have got the Ace of Wands, the 3 of Wands, and the King of Swords. I like it when the tarot like addresses you personally, okay? I don't know if you've had a reading with me before, tarot, but a lot of people will tell you I'm just going to be between the eyes and kind of keep it real. Keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving. These are really great cards. I really especially am digging the fact that the Ace of Wands is talking about lighting a match, okay? Like one of my favorite things about you've heard like, okay, you know, burn bridges or whatever, like don't burn bridges. Like, no, I feel like matches are meant to be like literally lighting the way to the bridges that we're burning. Ace of Wands is saying you're feeling passionate, you're feeling creative, you're really inspired. There's a lot, like a gust of energy that's kind of coming up for you. And also it's about you kind of like really feeling yourself and having a little bit more confidence. And you don't want anybody who's gonna like blow that out or like, you know, kind of blow out your flame, right? So Ace of Wands is about new beginnings when it comes to your self-expression, anything in regards to being kind of like self-employed, feeling like you have all of the creative ability kind of at your fingertips. It's what makes magic happen. We use wands to direct things. So it's saying you're in a new season of your life. The element is fire. It's all about passion. It's all about desire. You might feel like it's time to kind of burn bridges with certain people also. And I only say that because it's being followed by the 3 of Wands. So we've got the Ace of Wands, which is like, look, here's my intention. This is what I'm starting. This is what I'm doing. The 3 of Wands, which is like, I'm not just making plans, I'm going places. And the willingness also to kind of leave people or situations behind if need be. You have to understand that part of what's going on with Saturn and Aquarius, just across the board, Saturn and Aquarius is about the ideas and the goals for the future, right? And the sacrifices or where we hold back in participating in certain friendships or certain groups or whatever, like learning to be selective with who we share our time or our energy with, because time is money, Saturn square Uranus and Taurus. So we're realizing that in order to be able to better fuel our goals, we have to kind of cut back from certain groups or individuals or networks or whatever. And to me, it's like, it's not that you're cutting people off and you're severing them, you're just kind of blazing past them because this is a fire element, this is a fire element. And you can't be in a situation where you're holding space for people who aren't celebrating your accomplishments, right? Some people might see this as arrogance. Some people might see this as you purely focusing on yourself. I feel like with Mars and Gemini, regardless of your ascendant or whatever the deal is there, like you got to do you right now. It's going to be you against the world because Mars is going through your sign and it's in a square to Neptune. You're also seeing it come into, squares with planets in your 4th house to your sun, which is Virgo. So it's like there's all these career dreams. There's all this pressure that's going on also in your home life or within your family. And it's like you've got enough going on. You don't need shit from other people. 3 of Wands is about you being like, I have decided what direction and I'm going and I'm already going. So that does tell me you're going to leave some people behind. Like, you're not going to be able to bring everybody with you. And it's not because you're doing it in an arrogant way or you're cutting people off. It's just basically being like, you can come with me if you want, but like, this is the plan. It's like you're going to get on the boat or you're going to stay and be left behind. 3 of Wands is also like telling me that you've been strategizing and planning and like kind of formulating like what direction you're going in for a while. So you're not willing to kind of let people hold you back. Followed by the King of Swords, where, like I said, the cards are calling you out point blank. I mean, you're a Gemini. This is about a Gemini man. It's about like really rising to the occasion and like telling people what's up, not telling people off, but being direct. Swords can be used to defend yourself, or swords can be used to draw the line in the sand. And I think it's really significant for, the King of Swords to be coming up because it's saying you're learning how to wield your words with power and explaining and expressing to people what you're thinking. Not so much how you're feeling, but what you're thinking, what your plans are, where you're at is really important. And maybe it's about communicating and saying like, look, it's no hard feelings. It's just I'm doing what I got to do because I've got a mission here. And yeah, I would just encourage you to communicate as much as physically possible and be letting people know like what does and doesn't work for you. Maybe you're taking like a total you're going in a new direction, you're standing up for yourself more. That's the other way that I could look at this. And you're being like a little bit more assertive and a little bit more direct with people. And usually maybe you're considering others, or you're holding back, or you're waiting. And now it's like you're in a phase where you're like, that hasn't gotten me anywhere. Like doing that is not helping me. So I got to prioritize me first, and like hopefully people will join me. But until we get to that point, it's really important for you to kind of realize like, you know, you can't back down if you're feeling like people are understanding you. Communicate if people are taking it the wrong way. There's not a lot you can do about it. With Mars in your sign, especially for like the next month or two, coming very close to your sun, there's going to be like an assertiveness that's going to start showing up, and you're going to want to be getting more done, or you're going to be traveling, you're going to be going places. And if people can't celebrate that, then it is what it is, you know? But I think personally, it's just you're really kind of owning your words now. And there's like a real maturing going on in terms of what you're thinking about and how you're expressing your ideas to others. And now that you're really having forward motion and you're seeing change, you know, other people don't adjust so well when the games, you know, the rules of the game are changing. But I see lots of creativity, lots of success, going places, you know, possibly being able to get to where you're like even touring. 3 of Wands can be like, okay, we're going to a couple different places and performing and doing our thing. And people are going to be like, what about my birthday? Or like, what about me? Or you didn't even call me back. And it's like, there are things are already in motion. So if people aren't celebrating that, then it's time to have a conversation with them and let them know that you're really kind of trying to level up in your life and focus on being able to make the most of the moment and expressing yourself creatively. Okay? Hopefully that's helpful. Who else we got here? All right. We've got Susan. What's up, Susan? Nice to see you. All right, she says, is our legal case still open? Let's take a look. Susan, remind me, what's your rising sign? Is it Libra? Is it late Libra? Libra 14. I thought so. Keep in mind, Mars is in shadow, okay? So Mars being in shadow, that's your 7th house lord. It's going into your 9th, and it's going to retrograde. High Judgment, the Sun, and Ace of Cups. What's interesting is the Judgment card talks specifically about like a decision being made. Regardless of what the decision is, you know, the Sun coming up with the Ace of Cups makes me feel like it's a positive outcome. Judgment is usually a definitive decision though, okay? So it can be that the decision has been made that's like, okay, it's been wrapped up, it's done, you know, there's no need to worry about it. Something has been finished out. The Sun is shining a light on that. It's also talking about the fact that it's something to celebrate, that something has been completed. That something is wrapped up, that there is a positive response. The Sun also talks about anything in regards to men, power, control, right? And then we've got the Ace of Cups, which is talking about like happiness and like rejoicing and like feeling like, okay, like, you know, we can move on now. So if you're waiting to find out whether or not a legal case has wrapped, or, you know, if there is no future, or if they're not going to proceed forward or something like that, if you're hoping, it looks like you're going to get good news. This is also making me think that when we start to see like solar eclipses, you might get some news about this, because Judgment is final. The Sun can be solar eclipses. You know, we've got a solar eclipse that's going to be coming somewhere close to the end of October. So if you're looking to pursue like a actual legal case, because if you're looking to do something, if you've been going back and forth in regards to whether or not it's going to complete, it looks like it will complete. If you're going back and forth as to whether or not somebody is going to take your case, or if it's going to go through, then the answer would be yes. But like the end result with the Sun and the Ace of Cups is basically saying feeling relief knowing that something is going to come full circle and that it's going to play out in your favor, right? Afraid it has prescribed. What does that mean? Judgment and the Sun also being two majors in this situation is like kind of a big deal, because it's basically saying like it's shining a light on, I guess an attorney is looking right now. Okay. So, I mean, honestly, the Judgment is basically saying something is going to be wrapped up. So if you're looking to pursue a case, then it looks like there's going to be good news that somebody is willing to take it on. And if it happens to be something that is been in motion, it looks like you're going to get good news that it's wrapping up. One of the two. Especially if this has been something that has been kind of in the works since like summertime. You know, the Sun can talk about the last time that we were starting to see the Sun going through Leo. But this, to me, right, with the Ace of Cups coming up, it's saying that there's lots of emotions that are kind of tied to this, or there is a sense of like being really concerned or worried or overwhelmed. And the Ace of Cups is like cleansing, it's purifying. It's basically saying it's going to set the stage for being like, don't worry, everything's going to be fine. You're going to be good. Just knowing as a Libra rising also that Mars is moving into a trine with your ascendant. It's more or less also like bringing somebody into your life where if you have to go into a legal situation, they're going to fight for you, because Mars is the ruler of your 7th house. It could be long, it could be drawn out, but they will fight for you, especially if they have to process documents, paperwork, anything like that. Like, you know, they will be doing that over the next couple of weeks. You've got a full moon also coming in Aries. That's going to be next month. So you want to look at that full moon in Aries because it's going to be at 16 degrees conjunct Chiron. So it's going to be right on your descendant. So if you've had issues with other people, if there's healing that needs to happen in regards to relationship with other people, anything like that, it's going to wrap up. And if your Pluto is at 27, that's a really important degree, okay? So in a couple days' time, I just did a video about this. In a couple days' time, we're going to see that the Sun, excuse me, not the Sun, Venus, Mercury, and the Moon are all going to be conjuncting right around your Pluto. And that's going to be right around September 24th and 25th. So if it's going to be conjunct all of that in your 12th house, it's going to trine your vertex. It's basically saying the right person will show up to help you clear all of that stuff out. And if you've got Pluto conjunct Ceres, it's stuff in regards to home, property, family, anything in regards to real estate, security. It's also dealing with the potential of some kind of like loss. Pluto conjunct Ceres definitely brings loss, especially if you live on property that's got like farmland. Be mindful of that. Pluto Ceres can bring those transits. You're going to see trines basically happening all through there from these transits that are going to happen on the 25th to it's going to like light your chart up like a Christmas tree. And if there's anything going on in terms of like family, estate, property stuff, planning, if you're taking over something for some of your parents, that's something else that I would watch for, because it's going to bring that stuff up. But I mean, these are very positive cards. It's basically saying if there needs to be a decision that needs to be made, if there is a judgment that needs to be made, if you need to see a judge, if you need to shine a light on something and basically get the green light to make sure that you're safe and secure and that you're covered, like that will prevail, you know? And as planets go through your 12th house as a Libra rising, it's going to go one of two ways. Like you can make yourself sick with anxiety, or it can be a situation where you are practicing, you know, ritual and meditation and, you know, giving offerings and meditating and chanting and prayer, especially before you go to bed at night. The 12th house is your bedroom. So it's important to do things where you're incorporating magical stuff or the element of earth in your bedroom, you know, and you should naturally notice that you're doing that. If you have an altar in your bedroom, if you're bringing plants into your bedroom, if you're bringing crystals in your bedroom, as a Libra rising, that's something that you're just going to do that's going to help kind of calm your nerves, you know. Ace of Cups can talk about literally within a month. So right around the time that we're getting into Scorpio season is when I would look for this. If there is anything that's going on, you know, with Jupiter and Uranus going further into your 8th house in this next year, anything in regards to like lawsuits and stuff. Like it would behoove people not to take up with you in that way. You know, because I feel like you're setting yourself up if you do have to go through any legal entanglements, like you're going to end up getting a settlement, or you're going to end up getting a payout, or people are going to have to end up paying for things as Jupiter goes into your 8th house, you know? Hopefully this is helpful. Let me know. It was nice seeing you. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see, who else do we have here? Thank you guys for your patience. If you're just stopping in, we've got 30 minutes left. If you want to get on the queue, you can scan the QR code below and you can get a reading. Love you too, my dear. I have to come and visit you soon. I still want to come down there. I haven't been there in a bit. All right, so we have got Leona. I recently began talking to a guy. We really hit it off. We've been on 3 dates, and I'd like some insight as to whether or not things will progress forward into a relationship. I'm a Leo sun, Virgo rising, Cancer moon. He is a Libra rising. He is a Libra, rising unknown, and Virgo moon. Okay. He also has a Taurus North Node, a Scorpio North Node. I've been told this can be indicative of a past lives in some form, hoping the cards can give me much clarity. You know, if you guys have reverse nodes, okay, so he's a Taurus North Node going towards comfort, security, beauty, right? And he's having a nodal return. Significant transitions are happening in his life right now. I have seen in some situations, I'm not going to base it just on this, but if you have separate, like if you have opposite nodes, obviously you guys were born either, you know, like 9 or 18 years apart. It means that you guys have different purposes, different paths. So the beauty is having a relationship with a South Node, North Node conjunction is you guys can learn from each other, but be mindful that a lot of where he's going, you've already been, and vice versa, right? Okay, so let's take a look. Let's see for Leona what she needs to know about this new person. She's a Leo and he is a Libra. Air fuels fire. I'm not mad at it. Yep, 9 years apart. Okay, let's take a look. So I have the Knight of Cups, the Hermit card, the Four of Wands. Well, I mean, very interesting that Virgo comes up, whether it's the Virgo moon, Virgo rising. I think it's like the card's way of saying, like, talk about that. Okay, so I'm getting ready to, tomorrow I'm going to be teaching a class on relationship astrology and like synastry. So I've been like deep in that for the last 2 weeks. Just getting like a refresher and getting everything ready to start teaching that. And probably one of my favorite aspects, and it's considered, at least in my mind, like something that can be talking about partners of destiny, is when you have somebody who has planets, especially one of their personal planets, Sun, Moon, Venus, conjunct your ascendant, okay? So your ascendant is like the doorway to your chart. It's how you go about life, you know, it's how you initiate things in life. Virgo risings are very particular. You guys can, you know, spot something that's off a mile away, like something that's, you know, kind of wonky or off for whatever reason. So when you have a Virgo moon that's on your ascendant in synastry, it basically means that that person is very much emotionally tuned into you and your needs and the way that you function. So it's wonderful. The moon is more subconscious, so it's more like emotional and being able to read your body language and being able to offer you the emotional support that you need as you go through life. So one of my favorite things is when you have somebody who has planets on your ascendant. So it's cool that the Hermit card is coming up. We've got the Knight of Cups. So this can be talking about him. And the Knight of Cups is a man who comes in. He's charming, he's emotional, he's sensitive, he's open, very romantic. This is like the knight in shining armor. We've also got the Hermit card coming up, which talks about like reflection. I feel like it's talking about the fact that somebody has come into your life because both of you guys have been doing a lot of reflecting on relationships, consciously and willingly taking time alone because you have been thinking about what's best for me, what do I need to heal, what do I need, where's my life going? And as a result of that, like it's given you the opportunity to connect with somebody who's very much on the same path. The Hermit card can also say that, like, what's cool about the dynamic between you two is that you guys can talk about spiritual things or metaphysical things, or you can shine a light on topics about self-awareness or anything in regards to like epiphanies that you've had. You can share that with one another. And then lastly, you've got the Four of Wands, which does talk about temporary spaces. It says that it's going to be a period of like 4 weeks, 4 months where you're kind of going through this, enjoying your time together, going out and doing things together, being able to like, you know, go and see live music, go to parties, hang out, you know, out at street fairs, go out and have dinner and like do things together. Like you're really going to enjoy each other's company, right? And the Four of Wands is a card that also talks about union, ceremonies, and marriage. So I'm not saying that that's necessarily going to happen, but I'm going to tell you, like, as a Virgo rising, you know, Jupiter is retrograding back into your 7th house pretty soon. It's going to enhance relationships. As a Leo sun, you have Saturn that's going back and forth in opposition to your sun, which is also about making time for dating, making time for another person. Next year, Saturn's going to go into Pisces. So you're going to see that it's much more about commitment and whether or not you're moving more serious into kind of like unions and things like that. We don't know his rising sign, but I'll tell you Libras are kind of in the same boat because Jupiter is going into their 7th house. So you've got Saturn going into yours, which is about commitment, serious, you know, commitments in relationships. He's got Jupiter going into his 7th house from his sun. To me, I think this is saying it's also about giving it a couple of weeks time and like really talking about what you're looking for and being forthcoming. If you are looking for a serious commitment, or if you are looking for a life partner, or if you are thinking about getting married, it's about asking him, you know, like searching for the questions or searching in the midst of getting to know each other. Like, what are you looking for? Like, what direction are you going in? What are you feeling like? Personally, I think just with this alone, it's a really good sign that you guys are going to continue to move forward. Mercury is retrograde. It's coming back into Virgo. So this can also be saying that communication, especially with Libras, can be like a little wonky, and there can be a sense of him kind of being a little inconsistent. Don't worry about that. I would say, you know, that's going to clear up sometime around mid-October. But a really good emotional connection, somebody who is like willing to really go deep with you and like talk to you about things that interest you. And I think the next chapter is going to be going out more and expanding more into your social lives and like really introducing each other to other people in your life, because this seems like it's something that's going to continue to keep moving forward. And I just knowing your synastry from what you've told me, you know, the sun, moon, ascendant is like really great, especially if the man has the moon, because you're going to have a guy who's going to be more sensitive and emotional to your needs, where he may not always be like that with everyone, you know, and he's got moon 12th house to his sun. So he's already kind of he has like a Pisces moon-esque vibe. So he doesn't mind hiding away, spending time at home, having dinners, things like that, hanging out in bed. It's got like this more kind of like private vibe to it. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful. Sorry about that. We cut the classes like usually the day before, but we'll have it up again. We're gonna put it up again so people can replay it if it's something that you want to do. You're both introverts. Well, you guys can hang out in bed and have your Haagen-Dazs, right? You're very welcome. Sounds like a good connection. That's really exciting. We've got Wendy. Wendy says, just a general reading. All right, Wendy, you got it. All right, so we've got the 7 of Wands, 2 of Wands, 4 of Swords. Rest and recuperation after putting up quite a fight or overcoming a situation. That's what it seems like to me. 7 of Wands is talking about standing your ground, facing obstacles, being able to bounce back from challenges. I think this is also like a spread that's talking a lot about your perspective. So 7 of Wands is like, I reached this goal. I was able to overcome all of this stuff. You know, I was able to clear the path and figure out what direction I'm going. You know, nobody knocked me down, kind of king of the hill vibes. And then we have Two of Wands, which is like, okay, now that that's over, now I can clear the air and I can have a sense of clarity and have a better understanding of where I'm going. So this is like, you know, okay, that happened. Do I keep pushing forward or do I reassess and take a step back? I don't know if you feel like you've been, you know, going through like an uphill battle recently. I don't know if you feel like there's just been lots of challenges and that you've been having a little bit of pushback with people in your life, or that you have just overcome like something very significant. But instead of like pushing yourself and going the extra mile, to me, it seems like there's a period of taking a step back and like resting and recuperating, you know? This can also be learning like not to push the river. If you're feeling like you're fighting for something and you're not getting the results that you want, or if you're fighting for a relationship and you're not feeling like it's kind of coming together the way that you want, or maybe you're just realizing like you're pushing for things and things aren't materializing the way that you want, it's about a reassessment and a redirection of your energy, right? Wands. And kind of going, okay, it's not going in the direction I want, so do I need to go back to the drawing board and kind of figure out what's next? Do I need to just be present and let life happen? Am I working myself? Am I overwhelmed? Am I spent? Am I at a loss for inspiration? Like these things can be coming up when we see the Two of Wands and the Four of Swords, because this is about your vision. This is also Four of Swords about taking a step back and being like, I'm going to let this situation be right now. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to push back. I'm not going to force things to come into fruition. I'm gonna willingly kind of take a break and a rest and kind of be behind the scenes for a little bit and let the dust settle. This is also a card that does talk about like letting situations go and not stirring the pot. Four of Swords can talk about not just rest, but taking time off, going on a vacation, taking a break, not forcing yourself to complete a project. Increments of 4 days, 4 weeks. I really feel like if you've been hitting a wall with something and just like pushing it, and you're like, okay, what's next? Then I would say you need to let this situation rest for the time being. There she is. I've been trying to move and the housing process has been frustrating. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, okay? For what it looks like for me, like trying to force the situation, you're going to force the situation and then you're going to realize that something's going to show up and it's not going to be what you want. That you're going to be like, okay, now I got what I was asking for, but you know, it's a total uphill process, like trying to move and manage that with my schedule. Like this is a timing thing. To me, if you take a step back for about 2 weeks and you let the dust settle, you have to understand Mercury's retrograde right now. Communication, applying for houses, finding places, trying to get roommates, you know, trying to like orchestrate, like moving, like these things don't go smoothly right now. Waiting about 2 to 4 weeks is going to clear out. And I think the Four of Swords is saying like you need more rest. Not a lot of people realize we are constantly manifesting things with our thoughts, you know? We're constantly thinking about things, and that can be our worst enemy if we're obsessing, worrying, feeling blocked, saying we're blocked, and like thinking about it. And what I can see is like there's a need for you to kind of take a step back and just rest. And then once you have some clarity after about 2 weeks, like the situation's going to change. But it's also saying you've been trying to push for a situation that ultimately is not going to give you a lot of peace, right? Now, Two of Wands is about reassessing the situation. So I'm wondering, is this you going like, okay, is it best for me to wait 2 to 4 weeks? Do I look at another area? Is it best for me to kind of like rework the whole prospect of moving in general? And like, maybe it's just about, you know, looking in another area, because this is about assessing other places. Pay attention to your dreams, because Four of Swords can give you lots of information. We're in the midst of a Mercury retrograde, so lots of people are going to be having downloads and there's going to be things that are going to kind of come up. I would encourage you to be looking in other areas. So if you're needing to stay in a specific city, look in other areas. Broaden your horizons in terms of where you're looking. And yeah, moving, buying houses, renting houses, you know, or apartments, it can be very competitive right now. But from what I can see, if you keep pushing it, you're going to send yourself into like a total fatigue overdrive where it's going to be even harder for you to complete this in general. Okay. So make sure you're giving yourself rest. Good luck. 5 and 6 of Swords come after the 4. So likely there will be a move, but it's going to be in about maybe 2 to 4 months. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Wendy. Let's see. So we have got Kayla. You're very welcome. What's up, Kayla? Kayla says, please tell me what is going on. Is it right to leave my dad behind? It feels karmic. Let's take a look. Oh, Saturn on your sun, Kayla. That's a rough one. Especially when Saturn rules your 5th house, it's about father figures, solar figures, and what's best and what makes you happiest, right? And you've got all these planets as a Libra rising moving through Virgo in your 12th house. Trining Uranus, which is triggering you psychologically. Trining Pluto, which is about kind of like finally taking out the trash. There is a lot of medicine in letting go family like drama and letting go of toxicity within the family unit in your roots literally this entire week, okay? And it's all gonna keep on keeping on until really about mid-October. Let's take a look. I get the Magician. Oops, the 6 of Wands and the Knight of Cups. First of all, these aren't bad cards, but I do think that the Magician coming up is definitely talking about like situations that are kind of created and stirred up by this person. You know, the Magician can be somebody who's like, anything is possible, and they can like pull a rabbit out of a hat. But it can also be somebody who like fabricates and creates stories and drama and stirs the pot, and somebody who like makes up situations and scenarios just so he seems like the good guy, right? I'm not just saying that. The Magician coming up with the 6 of Wands literally makes me feel like it can be somebody who's like, look at everything I did for you, or don't you see, you know, how much I'm trying? Like there's a sense of playing up to this. But I also feel like this is somebody who, because this is an energy that's connected with Mercury, is really focused on like being like the star player in some situation. I hate to admit it, but he doesn't want me to be happy or something. Is that weird? Especially coming from a parent. No, but I think that it's about drawing the attention back to him. The Magician and the 6 of Wands is like, don't look over there, look at me. You know, it's about what I need. And sometimes the Magician can be manipulative, even though these cards are pretty positive. It's basically saying if that's the way that he's acting, you know, and he's seeking the attention and the appreciation, or he wants people to kind of, you know, give him the pat on the back. The Knight of Cups is saying he's doing it because he's very emotionally invested, like he really wants the attention or he really wants the love. But this is more a him thing, right? Like these aren't bad cards. It's saying like, look, that's what he's going to do. If that's the direction that he's going to continue to go in, and if he's going to be somebody who emotionally is going to be too much, and if you're seeing through that and you're realizing that it's not conducive for your health or for your relationship with him or the rest of your family, then it's also going to be about you, you know, having a heart-to-heart with him down the road, not right now, and being like, look, I can't participate in this. Sometimes the Magician comes up when you're dealing with somebody who's got like a false persona, or somebody who has like a split personality. Sometimes I've seen that, or somebody who wants to kind of portray themselves in a sense that, you know, it's not really them. So I think he's really consumed with like acting like he's being a good dad, but the question is he actually being a good parent? You know what I'm saying? And I think with the Magician, the 6 of Wands, it's like it's giving you the opportunity, if you really wanted to just move forward and, you know, pick up with your life, you could. You don't need his approval. I just told him I met someone. He said he's almost had a stroke. Yes, that's what it feels like. It's gross. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I mean, this can be about relationships too. So this can be about you saying to him, you know, I want to celebrate 6 of Wands, or I want you to be receptive to the fact that I've made connections. And he's like, yeah, but what about this over here? You know what I'm saying? I really personally feel like you really want to spend time around people who are going to be celebrating you. Like that's so important while Saturn's in your 5th house. That's so important while Saturn's on your sun. I know it feels kind of icky right now. It's going to get better in the new year. There's some karmic stuff happening. Saturn rules your 4th house. So it's literally if a father figure or a parent figure holds back and celebrating and allowing you to be happy about being in love. The whole lesson of this is not to get sucked into the facade that you need other people's approval. That's the magic sauce. That's the key to unlocking all of this stuff, is like, whether or not he supports it, that's neither here nor there. He's not the one dating this person, you are, right? And not allowing him to soak up all of, or consume all of the energy, to more so focus and revolve around him, holding space to be like, you know what, my feelings matter too. The Knight of Cups is about you wanting to share that. I think it's interesting that the Knight of Cups is moving away. So I don't really get the impression that this is somebody that you're immediately going to introduce to your dad, because he's going the opposite direction. So if your dad's kind of, you know, making it really about him right now, I think the Knight going away from the Magician is going to be you holding up and waiting before you're bringing anybody around your family. He keeps saying, don't be the naive girl. I'm not the same person anymore. Honestly, I feel like I wasn't there. I trust myself. Yeah. I mean, to be a Libra rising right now and Saturn on your sun, you're really focusing on what your goals are, and you're really committed to like falling in love for real. And Jupiter is also going into your 7th house. So this isn't me picking sides, but I don't really see this as being a time where you're naive. This is a time where you're like, I really know what I want and I'm not willing to settle. So I would encourage you, in the midst of retrograde on your ascendant, going into your 12th house, the 23rd, 4th, 5th, it's like a time for clearing. And if you feel like you need to take space from family and you no longer want to take those insecurities forward and allow other people to kind of create potholes in potential like relationship opportunity, banish it, clear it out, get rid of it. And when Saturn's off your sun, you're not going to be feeling like you need approval. The whole lesson is to kind of realize like you can be happy. You don't necessarily need to consult with your family and see if they, agree. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Kayla. Hang in there. I'm glad to hear that. It sounds like you know what you want. That's good. Hey, Tavia. What's up, guys? It looks like we might open up the relationship webinar. We have to close it up early because we have so many people that are on the email chain, and we have to get all the link out. But if we can get that out and some of you guys still want to get in, we're offering $25 off. And it's going to be 2 webinars actually. So it'll be one tomorrow morning, and then there's going to be another one next Saturday. They'll both be at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And they'll be like 2 hours long. And we're going to be talking all about first synastry, and then next week we're going to talk about composite charts. So I'm really excited to teach you guys all about relationship astrology. Okay, cool. We opened it. Thank you. So you guys can click that link. We'll leave it up for probably a little bit. We just need to make sure that everybody gets in tonight, because we have to send you guys the information for the link. So if you want to sign up, please do. Whenever we put out classes live or webinars live, we always discount them because we want to have as many people, be there as possible. We also just want to be able to extend like a discount to everybody. Once it's no longer live and when we package it and we sell it, we always mark things up. So you guys are going to get the best deal by being there live. Okay, so we've got Brandon. What's up, Brandon? Brandon says, I'm struggling with addictions. I want to know what the cards have to say about it. Let's take a look. Thank you. Pumpkin season, gotta go with the pumpkin. All right, Brandon, we are here for you, and I'm sorry to hear you're struggling. Let's see what the cards have to say. I have to be honest with you, a couple things. Something that just kind of comes to mind looking at this card is like, you're learning to redefine what it means to treat yourself. Does that make sense? The 9 of Coins is like, screw it. I have the money. I can party, or I can buy the extra this, or I can splurge on that, regardless of what the addiction is. It can be about overindulging. So if it's food, drugs, sex, alcohol, whatever, there's a sense of you being like, I can do it, And I think with the 9 of Coins, it's reminding you that treating yourself well, it's being redefined. What it means to splurge and give to yourself. What it means to, allow yourself to indulge. This is an earthly card, so it's about earthly pleasures. For some situations, like this card comes up where like, a woman's like, oh, I really wanted the expensive car. I really wanted the handbag. For men, it's like, I really feel like I deserve the nice watch, or, I'm indulging in it because I've earned it. But it's also about reevaluating what it means to give yourself something, right? And redeveloping what it means to give yourself something to make yourself feel good, right? And 9s are about completing a cycle. It can be about you reevaluating where you stand financially and how much money or time or attention or energy you're giving to this addiction, and realizing that it's not actually really benefiting you in the long run. There seems to be like a whatever, I deserve it, or I'm on my own, I'm good, or I don't owe anybody anything, so it's fine, I'm not hurting anybody, it's fine, it's for my personal pleasure or enjoyment. And I would say, like, that's fine, but in the long run, what you're going to realize is that what you're developing is an unhealthy pattern of feeling like, well, I can give myself something if that's what I've earned. You know, I'm working hard so I can afford the drugs type of thing. Or, you know, I'm overly indulging in something sexual or something physical because I need it. I think it's about redeveloping like the values and looking at, you know, how you're spending your money, how you're spending your time. If you're giving to yourself too much, if there's a sense of you becoming too comfortable being on your own, or becoming too comfortable allowing yourself to be in this position, and you're like, well, it's fine, it's just me, I'm not hurting anyone. Like, down the road, there can be some really unhealthy habits that stem just from this situation, where it becomes okay and you become accustomed to just giving yourself whatever you're craving or indulging in, if that makes sense, you know? I would also say that there's a lesson in this, because it's a 9. There's a spiritual lesson that's like, what is too much? And just because I can doesn't mean that I should. And is it really bringing me a sense of fulfillment? That is the question. Do you really feel fulfilled by this? And is it worth the cost of what you're spending or what you're putting your body through? Is it worth also, you know, that moment of like ecstasy and feeling good and feeling on top of the world? Because you can feel like that with the 9 of coins, only to shift gears and then realize that like there is a sense of having to keep up with it to like maintain that high, whatever it is, you know? Just food for thought. Hopefully that's helpful for you. And also connecting with the element of the earth, and also really asking yourself and sitting down and thinking about what's important and what you're valuing and what you could possibly be investing in place of this, that's going to make yourself feel better. Okay? Sending you lots of good vibes in the midst of that, lots of healing vibes. We have got Use of E. Maria. Maria says, I met a guy 2 weeks ago. He's living in one of the countries that I would be visiting in December. Is this something I should entertain until my trip? I'm a Virgo rising, Sag sun, Virgo moon. So whole sign, 4th house sun. What's up, Maria? Well, I have to tell you, you got Mars going into your, your 10th house. It's going to oppose all of your Saggy in the 4th. It's going to square your moon. Holy mutable squares the next couple of months. Everything is changing from home, work, and also yourself. So remaining open is really important. Let's take a look and see what the cards say. If it's a good idea for you to connect with somebody in a country you'll be visiting in December. I've got the Tower, the 8 of Cups, and the 3 of Wands. Holy cow. You'll have to fill me in and let me know how this relates, because the Tower is a card of everything is changing and transforming. It can be about things significantly falling apart. I'm a little curious / cautious about the fact that you're going to have a bunch of mutable squares, and you may feel, especially later in the year as Mars is retrograde in your 10th and it's square Neptune in your 7th and oppose all your Sag, that there's a lot of where am I living, where am I working, everything's changing, who am I meeting, there's going to be a lot of stuff shifting. The positives, you got Jupiter in your 7th, so meeting people in another place is great, but it could be something that's earth shattering, and it makes you realize holy cow, I met this person and we've really hit it off, but how am I ever gonna, make this potentially happen because they live in another place? So it could be earth-shattering realizations. This is in the past. It can also be talking about the fact that like you're upending everything in your life right now. You're making a lot of changes. There's like a lot of you clearing things out. This is the card that does come up for Mars. And so Mars is going through your 10th house. So there's going to be, as a Virgo rising, lots of changes with your career. Okay. Then we've got 8 of Cups. So the Tower and the 8 of Cups is a lot of like, well, that blew up, moving on. You know, I don't know if you're coming out of a relationship or that there's been some rockiness in previous relationships, so you're a little uneasy. I don't know if this is talking about talking to him and he's like, hey, I'm going through a huge change, but there's been a huge shift recently. And I would say just proceed with caution. And, you know, 8 of Cups is basically being like, I'm walking away. So if you feel like this is a situation where you're setting yourself up for disaster, if you're like, I'm going to go visit this guy in this other country, we're going to talk for several months, but what am I setting up myself for? You know, am I building up my, you know, my expectations to be too high? Am I setting myself up for heartbreak because I'm going to be going to this other country, I'm going to meet this guy and then it's going to fall apart, right? And the 8 of Cups is saying ultimately you might pass, or you might be like, okay, it was nice meeting you, you know, like see you later. And then you've got 3 of Wands coming up, which is like saying like now you're assessing the situation and you're moving on. I would say like really high standards, low expectations. If you want to talk to him, talk to him. There's nothing wrong or there's nothing fishy here. But I think it's more the topic of like, are you setting yourself up for something where potentially it could be really difficult or even devastating because you know you're going to go there, you're going to meet him, and then you're going to come home and you're going to be like, how could I facilitate this? As a Virgo rising, Jupiter's going into your whole sign 9th house next year. And it's going to be a situation where, you know, you'll have the opportunity to move if you want to move, or travel more if you want to travel more, because Jupiter rules your 4th. Equally, it means that, you know, you are also going to have to be committing more seriously to relationships because Saturn's going into your 7th. So I don't think it's bad in terms of him. I think this is more, don't set yourself up for something where you're going to turn around in a couple months and be like, wow, we really hit it off and like this broke my heart because I can't live there. You have to keep an open mind. And you have to be willing to keep it moving, where if you do meet him and you're like, the chemistry's off, I'm not really into it in person, you can be like, well, it was fun meeting you. Like, I'm going to, you know, I'm on my way. Because the 3 of Wands is kind of saying you're just going to keep moving. You're not going to get too attached to the idea of meeting him. Thankfully, you're going there and you were going to go there anyway. You're not going there because of him. You're not going there to see him. If he happens to factor into it, that's fine. But I have a strong suspicion with Mars, which rules travel for you or communication, is coming into your 10th house retrograde. It's going to square Neptune. You may have some changes in your travel plans that were unexpected. There might be some delays or some hangups or some things. And Mars can also be a person. It can be a man. So you also want to make sure that you're not setting yourself up to be really setting your heart on meeting him and then have a situation where you talk to somebody for several months and then they're flaky. You know what I'm saying? So just kind of food for thought. Go watch my video on Mars and Gemini. You'll see what I'm talking about. As a Virgo rising, it's going to go back and forth in your 10th. Maybe you're taking time off work, totally fine. The retrograde in your 10th might be that. And I think it's about you exploring what else is out there. But something about this makes me feel like don't factor too much of your actual trip revolving around him. If you see him, great. But I have a feeling that there's going to be some stuff that's either going to create some issues with actually being able to spend time together, or a lot of building up intention and expectation, and then you see him and you're like, okay, I'm going to pass, you know. FaceTime with him first. Like, get to know him on the phone first, so you're not making any changes or, you know, cutting back on anything in regards to your travel to spend more time with him. Don't make those sacrifices, okay? Hopefully that's helpful. What's up, Asha? 3 card spread, and it looks like you were asking about, let's pull this up. Where was it? Can I ask about a new love energy coming from my 3 card spread? You got it. Let's take a look. I'm so ready for something new after all of this clearing and healing. Let's take a look. Good luck on your trip, Maria. I hope you have fun. We've got 5 of Coins, the Magician, and the Knight of Pentacles. 5 of Coins, coming out of the cold, coming out of a situation where you have felt like left behind, or that people were not appreciating you, or they kind of like left you to kind of fend for yourself and didn't consider you, didn't take you in, weren't prioritizing you. The list goes on. Interesting that you've got 2 suits here coming up with Earth. So it's talking about physical shifts and physical changes. If the past is saying you're sick of being in situations where you're not being considered or people aren't giving you what you need, you are in the process of completely upending that. The Magician is saying like as above, so below. So there's been a lot of going, I don't like what's going on physically. I'm going to focus more on setting intentions, kind of manifesting, bringing things down through the astral and making magic happen. The Magician can literally be, you know, you being the master of your own reality and being like, I don't like this, I'm sending it back to the kitchen, you know? It can be talking about magic, rituals, setting intentions, working with the 4 elements, because he knows that if you're using the emotions of the cups, the physicality of the pentacles, the intelligence of the sword, and the creativity of the wands, when you bring all those elements together, you can make magic happen. So it does talk about you ritualizing something, like working with the elements, being able to ask for assistance, asking for omens, you know, asking for inspiration. I also really love like all of the vines and all of the flowers at the feet of the Magician, because it's basically saying there's new life growing. There's something that's getting seeded and like taking roots. And that you are not just manifesting in a sense of being like, oh, I'm asking for someone to come in. It's, I believe that I'm worth more. I believe that good things are coming. I believe that I'm coming into connection with somebody who's going to be a good match. I believe that they're not just going to check some of the boxes. They're going to check all of the boxes. And obviously the more specific that we are about manifesting, the longer it can take. But what's interesting is that you do have a knight coming in, and the knight is generally a person. So if you date men, then it can be a man, especially an earth sign. So it can be, you know, a Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn type energy. And I mean, of all the knights, like if I had to pick one, I would want the Knight of Coins, because he is going to be the most consistent. He can be a little shy. He can take his time. But he often comes really tall, darker hair, darker features, bearing gifts. So he'll give you something. It can be compliments, so it doesn't always have to be physical stuff, but you can be getting compliments, or it can be somebody that you meet who's very generous, somebody who's like, hey, I brought this, it reminded me of you, or I thought I would give you this gift, or I'll bring you flowers. Look for somebody who you're going to be meeting who's going to try to give you something. And I'm not saying this from like a, you know, like a perspective of like, what am I getting out of it? But he'll be generous, right? He'll want to share. And what I like about this also is that he is the most cautious of all of the knights, so he's not rushing into battle. It does kind of talk about like fanning the flames, and it's like a slow burn that takes a little bit of time for you guys to build into something. But this can also be saying that you're bringing somebody in who's also been hurt in the past and also has been through some rocky stuff. And also has been really focusing on developing himself, and he's like a little cautious and isn't just immediately going to give his heart away to anybody, but he's solid and he's reliable. You know, the other ones, the Knight of Cups, or the other knights, the Knight of Cups is going to be like someone who would just charm your pants off and you'd have fun with, and you'd have a romantic dinner. The Knight of Wands is somebody who's like a one-night stand. The Knight of Swords is just somebody who just texts you and calls you but never shows up. The Knight of Pentacles is somebody who actually comes through. So be looking and keeping an eye on those earth signs. I would also say that now that you're finally moving out of the, okay, I'm no longer willing to deserve, I don't deserve less than mentality, things are going to start manifesting much more quickly. And you may want to get into the habit of regularly during your manifestation stuff or your meditation or anything that you're doing magically, like working with a wand, right? Or you can be, you know, taking on the position of the magician and having all the elements out in front of you. Have your chalice, your crystals, you know, have your wand, have something that's going to direct energy, burn your incense, and then be ritualizing and saying, I'm bringing all of this in. I'm aligning all of the elements and I'm bringing all of this in. And you'll have somebody who's going to show up. You can literally ask very specifically, also for like physical, like, you know, how you would identify. I mean, it sounds silly. It's like, you know, I'm sure anybody watching this has seen Practical Magic, right? But remember when she like writes down as a little girl, like, oh, he's a star and he's got one green eye and one blue or two different colored eyes or whatever. And then the guy years later shows up and he's like a sheriff and he has two different colored eyes. Like that stuff works. Like I remember years ago, like writing down and being like, okay, I want to meet somebody who's left-handed and they do this, 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 and this. And was very specific. Obviously, the more specific you are, the longer it's going to take. But like you can make a list of what you're manifesting and then literally say, okay, I want to know how I'm going to identify this person. And you'll be able to identify him, okay? And usually tall, dark, handsome, kind of shy, and somebody who's going to be like a little bit more earthly and might be like a little bit more businessy. But somebody is definitely going to be coming in for you pretty soon. So it's very exciting to see that happen. Glad to hear that you're shifting that energy and making magic happen and realizing your worth. And also that you will be happy to be with somebody who's, you know, taking their time. It's not going to be somebody who rushes in and rushes out. You know what I'm saying? Because nights can come in very quickly, but then they can just disappear. But somebody who's going to take their time and like really focus on being able to establish a good relationship is likely going to be somebody who's going to stick, you know? I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies. Midnight Margaritas. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me on Saturday, for donating and getting readings. It's always cool hanging out with you guys. You can join me next Saturday. We're going to be doing live readings again at 7 o'clock Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be astrology. I'll get the link out early for you. We've got another video coming out tomorrow all about the astrology of the week. We've got the fall equinox that's coming here in the Northern Hemisphere. We're going to talk about what that means. And if you guys did get the link and if you want to join my relationship webinar, we're probably only going to have it up for a couple hours because we have to get those links out. So if you want to join, please join. I would love to see you there. It's going to be a couple hours. We're going to talk all about relationship astrology. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your Saturday night and you guys take care. I'll see you soon.